Hi everyone, welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. I'm your host, The Lone Wolf. For this week, as the introduction, a quick question to you guys. FanFest is not that far away anymore, a bit over a month, and I'm wondering what news would really get you guys excited. What are you looking forward to as an announcement on FanFest? Is it like the nullsec rebalancing, the POS revamp? For me personally, let's sit down. I'm honestly looking for any information on Legion. I think that would really, if they would like announce a beta or something like a date, or show some progress on the game, or show what their idea of scale is with Legion, that is something that would really get me excited. But of course I'm looking forward to any EVE Online news, really, considering the storyline that's developing at the moment, the scope videos that seem to be back. I can't wait for more information and for FanFest myself. So let's head to the market, of course, that's why we are here. And we will start with Plex, and I think that's going to be good news for everyone that wants to Plex their account. We've got some sell orders breaking 800 million, so Plex 800 million for the sellers, 798 for the buyers. Let's have a quick look here at the chart. Yeah, slowly going down. It's almost looking like a trend break here at the tail end. Look at that. The 5-day moving average was well above the 20-day moving average. Then they finally met, but now here that's almost like a break, and it's continuing down. We even have a data point as low as 792 million in JITA. That's something we've not seen in a long time. And if I go back to the 6-month chart, yeah, slow trend downward. If this momentum can be maintained, once again, I said this as well at this point right here. What would that have been? The end of December, of course. But then it pulled back just a little bit. But if it can continue on like a line towards the downward trend here, we could see lower Plex over the upcoming weeks and even months, maybe, with a FanFest sale. Well, it's up in the air really, but this is positive, I think, for anyone that was looking forward to some cheaper Plex. You can actually buy one right off the market. Oh my god. And while I've done this quick analysis, here we go, 5 of them for 789 right there on the market. So you can actually buy a couple of Plex below 800 million. I think that's actually pretty good news for people that want to buy some. They were getting a bit close to 1 billion, and so I actually consider this good news myself. This is much more in line with something that you can earn in a month than a billion. So yeah, good news on that front. Let's move on to some minerals and start right away with titanium. That's at around 3 minutes. It's slowly going down, but it still managed to maintain a price above 6 ISK. Yeah, in fact, all the orders that I had seen at 601 and 602 are already gone. So 603 for the sellers, numbers wise, 744 million, 500 million here, couple of 200 million. Here are the buyers, 596, 200, 200, 200. Here is a pretty big one at 2 billion, but that at 5.8, so that's actually pretty aggressive on the price here. So yeah, supply has a little bit of the upper hand this week, and does a little bit of downward pressure on the price, but it seems to be doing quite okay. Managing to maintain sell orders above 6 ISK is actually pretty good, I think, for high-sec miners. Here is the chart. You can see a quick jump below 6 ISK, but it's already coming back above that. So it's still alright in my book. There is still a chance that we will actually see more of a sideways movement than a downward trend. It is actually normal that titanium had to come down a little bit from the very high price of 6.3, some data points at 6.4 ISK. The fact that it's actually already slowing down after breaching 6 ISK, I think, is good news for stable prices. Let's have a look at the pyrite chart. What is that one doing? Maybe the 1 month chart is better. That is obviously much more in line with stable price, with a well supplied market, and what I was looking forward to or expecting last week. So that's good news. Titanium, yeah, a little bit of a dip. Maybe I should just mention that I was expecting a sideways movement here, where the 5-day moving average would actually come together with the 20-day moving average. It dipped a little bit below 6, but you can see from the prices right here that the market actually wants it to stay above 6 ISK. So I actually think a little bit of a delay, but a sideways movement is in the cards here. Buy right, sideways movement is right there, so it's actually the numbers that are pretty important. 40 million, 145 million is the biggest here, 166, 110, 860 million. A little bit of a demand that is taking the upper hand here, which it's been for a while, and that's actually I think good for the stable price right here. So buy right I think is set to go sideways for now. Let's have a look at Mexalon next. A little bit of a dip as well, nothing too drastic. If I go for the 6-month chart right here, managing to stay above 60 ISK I think is pretty important if we want to avoid a crashing down of Mexalon, but it looks like it's doing that pretty decently. 61.25 for the sellers. That's actually pretty big here. Let me see, 44 million units just at 625. Then here we have another 44, another 46. You're not seeing those numbers until quite a bit lower on the buyers. So Mexalon in a little bit of the same situation as Tritanium, where it took a little bit of a dip. We have a little bit of oversupply, so there is some pressure on the price, but managing to stay above 60 ISK I think is still a good sign and a chance for stable prices. Still keep that in mind for both Tritanium and Mexalon, that the sellers have a little bit of the upper hand at the moment, and so it could have an impact, of course. Let's have a look at Isogen then. 126 for the sellers, 123 for the buyers. 15 million here, 13 million here. I would give the buy orders, so the demand, a little bit of the upper hand on that one, and that is translated in the chart here as well. Much more in line with Pyrite here. Pretty stable 20-day moving average, I mean from 125 to 127 on a 1-month chart. That's quite okay. There is a bit more demand, and so there is some upward pressure here on the price. So I think if the buy orders can come back for Mexalon and Isogen, and if they taper off a little bit for Isogen, these could just be normal market variations, and we could actually really be seeing a stable high-sec mineral market in the upcoming days and weeks. It's my expectation. Of course, you never know with EVE Online what's going to happen next. Let's touch on some of the, well, mostly null-sec wormhole space minerals. Here is Noxium. That's the chart. Oh, Noxium, not bad. Taking off a little bit. Let's take a look at the 6-month chart here. Coming close to, let's say 680 would be the price where Noxium would have recovered. 682 for the sellers, 655 for the buyers. Not bad. Noxium making a little bit of a comeback right here. I think that's very good news for people holding Noxium stocks or having bought at like 540. Pretty healthy profit right there. And Noxium crawling out of the hole, having reached its bottom, is actually coming back to its price that it had 6 months ago. Pretty nice. Unfortunately, Megasite, not such good news. That's still looking for a bottom close to 700 ISK. If I'm looking at this chart, look at where it comes from, 1200 ISK. That's pretty much half the price, and it's coming from even higher. So 744 is what I took for the sellers. There's one outlier at 730, but that one is getting picked up pretty quickly. It's already pretty small in quantity here. 710, 711 for the buyers. So yeah, a bottom at 700 I think is almost in the cards here. It's almost depressing to see how low Megasite is still going and still slowly going down. Let's have a look at Zydrine. That should be pretty similar. Yeah, oh, ouch, that's actually pretty painful. Let's go for that 1-month chart here. Starting the month at 450, ending it at 410. It's also looking for a bottom, I think close to 400. We've got buyers at 405, 401. So they're really testing that one. Sellers at 421. I'm not sure how low this can go. But 400 for Zydrine is, I think, the lowest I would have ever seen it. It is something pretty unusual. If you think that that could be a bottom, then I would almost say it's worth an investment close to these prices. If you can pick them up on the buy orders, I think it's not a bad deal. But I'll grant you that it's pretty risky considering for how long they've been going lower and lower. These null-sec minerals. So yeah, minerals, I'd say high-sec is looking good for some stable prices. The real null sequence, Zydran, Megasite, not looking good at all. They're really looking for all-time bottoms here at the moment, and I'm not sure if that's actually going to stop this this trend. Let's have a look at the impact on some Tech 1 chips, 950. I think we all know that that one has actually been really stable, so I don't suspect anything drastic here. Maybe a 1 month chart just to get a quick feel of it. Over the last month, Caracal spiked from 10.5 to 11.1 million. It's not that huge, but it's a little bit of a spike, and corrected back to 10.5. If we're looking at supply, there is a bit of oversupply here, 102.37.59, so we could see a bit of a counter movement to this spike where Caracals are going to go a bit closer to like 10 million or something like that. I think we can expect this given those supply numbers, but after that, of course, I think it's actually going to correct pretty quickly. Here's the Dominic starting at 191, ending at 197. Again, 5 million, it's not that big of a move, but Dominic's is in a general uptrend. Let's see if supply is coming in, and it is. Look at that, 67 Dominic's. That's not something that's sold that quickly, I think. No. It takes pretty much an entire day to fill that up, so if there are other producers like right here, 21, 8 and 6 coming to the market, it's actually going to start to put some pressure on the price to go back down towards a more normal, I think 191 to 192 million is probably a normal Dominic's price. So expect supply to come in for Dominic's. You may still bring a few to the market and try to make some money off of this. But I think it's going to be short-lived considering some of the numbers that are coming in here. 74, 21, 67, especially these last two is pretty much a day supply that has come in the last 12 hours. So I think it's going to start to stop here. Next up, the Drake. Quite a bit of variety in this chart, although again keep in mind this is actually between 47.4 and 49 million, so it's really not that big. It is a pretty stable market, but what we can see here on this Drake chart is that it knew a little bit of a dip coming to its bottom of 47.4 million. And the response of that seems to have been a little bit of, let's not bring too many Drakes to the market, let's not test the market here and force it to go lower, with an immediate response back up here to 49 million, and now we're already heading back down. Currently 48.9 million for Drakes, 46.5 for the buyers. And you can see that on these high prices right here, it is starting to taper off, and that is because of these 36, 25, 23. The industry response is very short. They're playing short on the ball. Higher prices, okay, we bring them back to the market. Lower prices, let's hold on a little bit, give the market a time to adjust a little bit and bring the price back in line with what we normally get for Drakes, and wait for the next opportunity to actually sell at a higher price. Here's the Myrmidon chart. That's pretty obviously a very stable Myrmidon price right at 50.5 million, with a little bit of a spike right here at the tail end. So let's see if supply has dried up. Well, it's at 51.46, so no, this is just an outlying data point. I don't think that this actually means anything considering these numbers and these prices right here. Next up, the Rupture. Yeah, a little bit of a spike here again, coming off its 10 million, and it's already over, trending back towards its 10 million, in fact 10.5, and still 27 and 18. So yeah, this is very short-lived spikes in this Tech 1 market. They're also very small in scale, so that's been able to be a very stable market so far, this Tech 1 market. Here's the Talos, a little bit of a spike right here, that's not bad. Starting at 75, ending at 80 million. That's still only 5 million on something that cost 75 million, but that's almost a noteworthy spike right here. Let's have a look at supply. Demand though, 20 and 14 are the bigger buy orders. You can see the market response has been almost immediate. 25, that's less than a day old. 19, that's less than a day old. 11, 31, 24 and 33, all of them less than an hour old, these ones. So yeah, a 5 million jump, immediate response with bigger supply. This is going to be gone by next week, honestly. The Tech 1 market, you can try to make some money off of spikes like this, but it's very hard. You can see that that the industry guys with Tech 1 supply are really short on the ball. They know exactly when to make their moves with some of the stocks that they have ready, undoubtedly. and so it's very hard to actually compete with these high prices. They're being snuffed out right away. Let's move on to the Take-Two market then, 1445, and see if we can spot some trade opportunities. We'll want to go to a bit of a 6-month chart here, and that's actually a Talos. Look at that, actually a nice little spike here again to 80, but as I said, you could see it fall right back off a cliff, and in fact going below the median price as a response to the oversupply that an opportunity at 80 million creates. So here is the Basilisk chart. We're still in sell order territory, obviously. God, I need to drink here for a second. There we go. Yeah, look for basilisks. If you have them, try to sell them, because price above 190 is not bad. You can usually pick them up at 170. We're talking 20 million right there. That's much better margin than anything we've seen in the Take-Two market. Here is the Guardian then, also at a pretty high at 155. Interesting that already 2 logistics cruisers have this response. Supply not that big. Let's have a look here at Basilisk, not that big either. Maybe someone bought a lot of them. Look at this volume right here, pretty significant, right after January, which was in line with the much higher prices. So someone probably came in and bought a pretty big fleet here. I'm not seeing that on the Guardian. That's a little bit unusual. You have the big spike here in volume together with the price spike here, but here this is more speculative high. So Guardians, yeah, maybe try and sell them if you can. I think this will actually come down pretty quickly. For the Basilisk, of course, there is this big spike, so there is this time where the market will actually need to bring the supply back so we can get back to lower prices. It's normal that this is actually going to take a little bit of time, but for the Guardian, I'm not seeing that big volume spike, so I actually think that this is going to start to correct pretty soon. Here is the Hound chart. That's decently low, I think, for the Hound, below 19 million. Spikes previously at 25, 23 and 22 million, so there is some money to be made there, I think, if you can buy them for the right price. Buyers, in fact, almost at 18 million. I definitely feel that that could be an opportunity. The Manticore, 23 million. It's got spikes above that, it's got lows well below that. I would not touch that at the moment. Here's the Nemesis, finally going back down a little bit after a little bit of a spike at 23 million currently. Buyers back down to 19.5, so you can see that there is a big movements happening in the Nemesis market. It's very short, it's pretty good for trade opportunities as it's not that insignificant. 20 million to buy them, 23 million, that's 3 million profit, more than 10% right away. That's not bad in a matter of weeks. Here's the Nighthawk, the one command chip, unfortunately going back down again. I was hoping that this downward trend could have maintained itself and that it would really start to break that 260, start to go down, but nope, it's already back up here. So I would not touch command chips for trades at the moment. Here's the Oneros chart. You can see that it came off a pretty nice spike, then a very nice slow close to 140. At the moment, I would still wait a little bit. We are talking 165 for the sellers, 158 for the buyers. It's not good either way, in my opinion. There's better opportunities in the Oneros later on, like right here, nice little spike at 180. That was pretty awesome to sell at. Next up, the Purifier, another stealth bomber, which sometimes do pretty well. Unfortunately, here again, I would wait it out a little bit because the Purifier has done some weird stuff, holding well above 22 million for a bit too long. Nice little crash right here down to almost 17 million, and now here's some variety at around the 20 million mark, which is more normal, I think, for a Purifier. But the spikes aren't there yet, so I think the market just isn't ready for Purifier speculation just yet. And here is the Scimitar then, holding at 150, a little bit too high to buy, too low to sell. So I would be careful for the Scimitar. Not that many opportunities. I'm a little bit surprised. A lot of them are actually right in between the spike values. So yeah, there's not that many opportunities this week, unfortunately, in the Take-Two market. Let's hope that next week will be better. Moving on to Take-3 stuff, 1930 is good. And I think we all know what the confessor chart is going to look like. It's just too early for anything other than more supply coming in and the prices coming really close to production cost here at the moment. So 44.3 million for the buyers, 49.8 million for the sellers. I think that's almost a razor thin margin here. I don't think that there's that much money to be made here, and the numbers are also slowly coming down. We're 10, 2, 1, 3, 4. That's probably individual producers that are finally, well, okay, I made some confessors, let's see if I can bring them to the market. That's just the newness of the ship, people trying to make a few of them. I actually think that that's a goal for a lot of people, and that's why we're seeing this this current trend right here, you know, very stable, really edging towards production costs, and it's just too early to have some speculation or anything like that. Here's the Legion, slowly going down. Is the oversupply there? 18, 7, 14. It's not that drastic, so it is slowing down, but I do think that there is still more supply than demand in the Legion market here at the moment. So I actually think this is going to continue, although it is much slower. Here's the Loki chart. Ooh, taking back off a little bit. Interesting, 220. Where is that on the chart? Right here. So yeah, the Loki, bit of a counter push. Is there like a big volume spike? Yeah, there's actually decent volume. I mean, if you look at it throughout the year, except for these big spikes, or throughout the last 6 months, I should say, volume way below 100. And here we've actually had 4 days with volumes above 100, and in fact as close to 200 in well, are those days? I should really go look at the 10-day chart or the 1 month charts. Yeah, here it is, here it is, here it is, and here it is. So this is all in like just the last 2 weeks or so, where we had some decent volumes for some Lokis for some reason, and this is probably the reason why we see the price going back up to 220. We'll have to wait until next week if we again see more of this 9, 11, 9 in numbers right here, but some even higher numbers like 20, 30 Lokis coming in. Oversupply will take over and that will come back down, but otherwise, you know, there is interest in the Loki. People are apparently buying them in much bigger numbers, so it could sustain itself a little bit if supply needs some time to materialize. Here's the Proteus chart, something pretty similar, except I'm not seeing those unusual volume numbers, so it's looking to me like this will be very short-lived. And if I look here at supply demand, 10, 31, 26, 15, 25, yeah, the Proteus has no chance in my opinion of going higher the same way that the Loki just showed on the chart, just because the volumes aren't there but the supply is there. So this is actually going to yeah, be a bit of a false alarm right here. It's going to continue to trend down. And here finally is the Tengu chart, which is what I'm suspecting the Legion is actually going to start to show next week as well. Maybe a couple of hesitation moments, but oversupply is going to take over. 38.77. All of these are pretty recent. In fact, pretty much the entire first page here from here is less than an hour old, and that's actually a good amount of Tengus right there, with 13.44 and 13 again right off the bat. So there is more supply here in the Tengu. That one is going down. The Loki did something pretty interesting with those major volumes coming in right there. So that is maybe where an opportunity lies. If you can produce a couple Lokis, you might just get some decent prices off of them if you can beat the other people that will undoubtedly notice this opportunity as well. And finally, I guess for the extra material, I'm going to check the fuels. I noticed something pretty interesting. 23.30 with doing the ticker below. I actually do that one manually. I check the prices and then I check the difference with last week. So it's not like I get this off of Eve Central or something like that. It's really when just before I do Eve Talk, I take a look at all of these prices and then I make the ticker myself. Really old school, but I actually think it works okay to notice some trends. And what I noticed was Caldari fuel block yeah, here we go. This is exactly what I noticed. These little spikes here in price has been pretty weird. I noticed 16,000, 17,000 next week. The week after that, 16,000 again, 17,000 the week after that, and 16,000 again the week after that. So there's actually a lot of bouncing happening in this Caldari fuel block market. It's interesting to see that the trend over 3 months is up. Over 6 months though, it's actually down. So it comes off pretty high Caldari fuel block prices. It went down to as low as almost 14.5k, and now it's a bit of a bouncy ball, but the trend is slowly up. I think that's actually pretty interesting and not what I expected. I would have actually expected after January for this to start to slow down, because generally we see lower plex prices, a bit less activity in the game, and thus fewer posses, and so I would have thought that we would see the opposite. Pretty interesting and pretty unusual to see how this is actually very bouncy above and below the 20-day moving average. Not sure what's behind that. It's not like I've heard of any ice interdiction in the news or anything like that. So yeah, I thought, what the hell is happening? Let's see if this is also happening for the other ones. This is the MR fuel block. Nope, that's more in line with what I would have expected. Just before January 1st, we were looking at 15k, pretty low price, but it's now heading towards 14.5k off of what I suspect is just a bit of lesser player activity, so fewer bosses that need the fuel. And so this is more in line with what I would have expected. Here is the Galente one though, and that's again pretty much in line with what we saw with the Caldari one. Nice bouncy behavior right here with a little bit of a spike at the end. Probably not going to last. I mean, 17k, yeah, back down to 16.4k, but very active price, as you can see right here, bouncing above the 20, below, above, below. This is pretty unusual. It's not a pattern that I see very often. I can't tell you what's behind that, but I need to do some research, and if you have any tips on that, feel free to post them in the comments. I'm very curious to know why this is happening in some of the fuel blocks. Here is the Minimatar chart then. Yeah, again, decently bouncy. It's kind of weird. The MR one is actually the one that is in line with my expectations, but it's actually the trend breaker for the 4 fuel blocks. Here again, the Minimatar with a bit of a bottom at 13.5k December, and now still slowly trending up above 15k. And the Galente one, yeah, also slowly trending up despite the fact that we are in the new year, and I would have expected the exact opposite. Interesting. I actually think that this is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what's going on, so again, if you have any ideas, feel free to post those in the comments, because I find this rather curious. I noticed the pattern making the ticker, and now I'm noticing it again on the Galente and the Minimatar fuel blocks. I would like to figure out what the hell is happening there. Anyways, that's it for this EVE Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.